Hello, everyone. Welcome to Therapeutic Yoga class today. We are going to do a very, very gentle therapeutic yoga class today. In fact, what we're going to be focusing on doing today is fusing the concepts of yoga with a particular type of movement called Feldenkrais awareness through movement exercises. And so these exercises are very intentional exercises where you're very kinesthetically and sensory aware of your body. So that means that a lot of the movements that we're going to be doing today are very gentle and very slow. The focus will be through the hips, the pelvis, and the low back for the entirety of the class. So with that being said, what you need for your class today is a yoga mat. I am starting on a yoga bolster simply to be seated on a yoga bolster. But if you don't have a yoga bolster, no worry, you will not need it for the remainder of class. You can have yourself a seat in a chair if you like. So now that I've said that, have yourself a seat on a yoga bolster or in a chair, whichever you prefer. I'm going to kind of talk through the alignment sitting in a yoga bolster. So find yourself in a nice, comfortable, easy pose for you. So that's with your legs kind of in a flex position, external rotation, and slight abduction. However, if you've got super tight hips and right now as you're sitting on a bolster or multiple pillows or whatever on the floor, your knees are up here way high above your hips, just allow yourself to let your legs kind of fall out and just let yourself kind of roll forward so that you can gently get your knees below your hips today. So rather than picking easy pose to begin class, you're kind of picking a wide-legged pose to begin class. It doesn't make too much of a difference for today, but I just want to make sure that there's no stress into the hips, pelvis, and low back as we gently sit to do just a small bit of opening through our rib cage and a little breathing. So you kind of pick what feels comfortable for you, whether it's a wide-legged positioning or as I'm going to pick, which is just a gentle, easy pose. Obviously, have yourself elevated up off of your yoga mat some way if you're on your yoga mat. Okay, now gently kind of close your eyes today. So today is really going to be much more about our body awareness rather than our movements being big and feeling big stretches. So what I'd like you to do today is just gently take your palms of your hands and then place them onto the tops of the knee area. And while you're sitting there, go ahead and close your eyes today. And what I want you to do as you close your eyes is I want you to let yourself roll your pelvis backward. So as you roll your pelvis backward, really appreciate the excursion of movement that you have. Feel if you have your rib cage still stacked over your pelvis or if your rib cage kind of falls back with your pelvis. And then in this position, just stay here for a moment and just feel where you generally feel tension. Do you feel tension in the buttocks that are touching the bolster? And do you feel tension in somewhere in the spine because you're in flexion right now? And then very slowly, using your hands if you need to, but predominantly your back muscles here, start to roll your pelvis forward. Roll your pelvis forward as much as you feel like you can. And as you roll your pelvis forward, trying to kind of keep yourself relaxed, eyes closed, feeling what happens now, can you feel that your rib cage lifted? Can you feel that there's lots of extra weight in your legs? And can you feel if there's any tension in your hips, the front of your hips here as you roll forward, or maybe the small of your low back? So we're going to go through that motion a few times. So kind of like a modification of cat, cow, and sitting. And I want you to try to relax and keep your eyes closed and just feel where are the places in your body, particularly hips, pelvis, and low back, that you begin to feel tension. So stay in this modification of cow or camel pose here for a moment. Start with a nice deep inhale. Let your belly expand outward. And then as you slowly exhale through your nose, just slowly let your pelvis roll back. Can you feel that point when you get to that end of that roll, and where do you feel tension? Holding there for a second, and now inhaling. Start to roll yourself forward through that inhale and feel how the weight transfers to the feet, and then feel where you feel tension in your low back and your hips and your pelvis. Holding there for just a hold of your breath, and then exhaling. And as you exhale, start to roll the pelvis back. Does the rib cage stay on top of the pelvis, or does that rib cage fall back with the pelvis roll? Indicating a really tight low back if that happens, not ability to dissociate your pelvis and your rib cage. Holding here for a hold. Start that inhale again. Inhaling, rolling the pelvis forward. How slow and intentional can you do it? You maybe feel tension in your hamstrings as you do that. Holding here, and then gently exhaling, rolling that pelvis. Very slowly, slowly rolling back as you exhale. Hold your breath just for a second. And then start one more time, inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. Continue that tilting of that pelvis forward as you inhale. And then hold your breath here. And then on this exhale, keeping your eyes closed, just find that pelvic tilt backward or that roll backward until you feel like you just unload your feet. So you're somewhere near that full tilt and that full tuck for me. And then once you feel like you're in that position today, try to keep your eyes closed. See if you can use just the awareness, the proprioception of your joints to know where you are in space. And then as you keep yourself with your eyes closed, lift your rib cage and get your spine nice and tall. Take a moment here just to gently shrug your shoulders up, lift your hands up off your knees, and rotate your hands away from one another as you pull your shoulder blades back and down. Keep squeezing between those shoulder blades, and then just rotating only the hands. Place the hands back down onto the thighs. Lengthen the neck and settle the chin. And then just from your hips alone, so keep that spine in that neutral posture, just from your hips alone, can you very slowly hinge at the hips just to put a little bit of weight into your legs? Now, keeping your eyes closed, can you gently lift your left hand off of your left thigh and find the edge of your chair or the edge of your bolster and just place it there? And take a nice slow inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale out, let your body lean into that left hand. So you just let yourself kind of shift the weight of your rib cage over to that left side. And pay particular attention to that right sit bone and make sure that it doesn't lose its position from your bolster. Again, see if you can kind of gently keep your eyes closed to be very aware of your body today. And then now lifting that right hand up and out to the side of your body. Allow yourself to take a nice deep inhale as you lift your right arm in the air. And then as you exhale, just reach that right arm up and over your body. Find that exact point that when you lean up and over your body, you feel that unloading of that right sit bone, and then don't go any further today. And then take a nice deep inhale, lift that rib cage off the pelvis. And then as you exhale, just see if you can gently bend that left elbow and fall a little bit more into that left hand. Now, hopefully you're feeling a little something between your abdominals, your rib cage, or that pelvis and rib cage in your back area. Take a nice, slow, deep, intentional breath into there. And then exhaling out. And one more time, deep, slow, intentional breath in. And exhaling out. Now with your right hand and your inhale, slowly lift the right hand up into the air as you unload the rib cage off of your left side. And then as you exhale, without looking, can you gently exhale that right hand down, feel that bolster, and place that right hand on the bolster. Now, take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, start to load that rib cage over the right hand. How far can you go before you begin to feel that left pelvis starts to unload a little tiny bit? Don't go beyond that. Now let's take our left hand and a nice deep inhale, start to lift it up in the air. And then as you exhale, let that left arm come up and over your body and find that point where if you lean and reach anymore, you start to unload that left sit bone. And then keep yourself right there today, trying to relax your body. Eyes are closed, very aware of what the entire body is doing. Now with your left hand and your trunk, take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, maybe there's a bit more side bend as you bend that right elbow a bit more. Now, wherever you're feeling that tension, the lower part of that rib cage or the upper part of that pelvis, breathe into that right here. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Now, slowly moving the left hand on the inhale, inhaling, lifting that left hand up until you unload the trunk off of the right hand, and then exhaling that left hand down. Very nice. And then slowly start to open your eyes. All right, now we're going to do a gentle rotation. Just imagine that all we're going to do is wring out the paraspinal muscles of our neck. Paraspinals are the muscles that run in the back of your neck. So here's what I want you to do very gently. Turn your head to the right, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Imagine if you could, you're trying to take your chin and line it up with that right shoulder. And then just very slowly gaze back behind you, using your vision this time. And then keeping that left hand on the bolster or the chair with your right hand, just lift the right hand up on the inhale. And then on the exhale, try to gently twist and reach towards the left knee. Now hold yourself right here. Gaze back behind you on the right side. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you inhale, maybe lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, maybe twist your spine a little bit to that left, but not enough that you feel any sort of pain or tension. Keeping that gaze straight back behind you on the right side. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And then exhaling out. Take an inhale, lifting that right hand, bringing it back over to the side of the bolster on the right side. And then as you exhale, just gently rotating your head back to the center. Let's do that on the opposite side now. So take a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, just gently turn your head to the left, lengthening that neck, settling that chin, trying to get that chin in line with that left shoulder as far as you feel like you can, and then take those gaze of those eyes as far back to the left as you can. Now take an inhale and slowly lift the left hand, and then as you exhale, reach for it up and over to grab that right knee. That's a right trunk rotation. Keep the gaze towards the left. Take a nice deep inhale here as you lengthen through your spine, and then as you exhale, maybe a little bit extra twist, but no pain or tension. Only go to where you can, keeping that gaze behind you on the left side. Take a nice, slow, deep inhale into that spine as you're wringing it out right now. And then exhaling out. Inhaling, lifting the left hand off the right knee as you place it back to the bolster. And then as you exhale, slowly rotating your head back to the center. You've got it. Okay, so we are now going to be transitioning onto our yoga mat. So what I'd like you to do from easy pose or a chair, just simply sweep your feet to the right or the left side. And then once you've swept your feet to the right or the left side, just gently take your bolster and place it away from you. And once you're there, allow yourself to take a look at your knees and place your knees hip distance. That's 2 fists between your knees. And then weight shift yourself forward onto your hands just long enough to look back at your feet and line your feet up with your knees. Now, don't worry about tabletop position. We're not staying here. We're going straight into child's pose for a minute. So take a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, tuck that tailbone under like you did on the bolster. And then slowly start to sit yourself back onto your heels. Gently let your elbows bend as your belly comes down onto your thighs, your chest comes down onto your knees. Your elbows come down onto your yoga mat, and the crown of your head slowly starts to gently fall towards the floor. Now, can you lengthen the back of your neck, settle your chin towards your chest, and gaze straight back between those big toes, making sure that they haven't fallen together? And take a slow, deep inhale into the low back area, right where those lower ribs are. And then gently exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into that belly. And then slowly exhaling out. Gently walking yourself up as you straighten your elbows, bringing yourself up into tabletop position just to go through a few cat-cow poses, really just to kind of refresh and wake up that blood flow and cerebral spinal fluid to our to our pelvis and our low back area before we lay down on our mat. So knees and feet should already be in appropriate position. Just check in for you that your hips are stacked directly on top of your knees. And then find that position that your wrists feel comfortably underneath your shoulders. Take a moment here to gaze that your hands are a little bit wider than your knees and that it's those index fingers that are pointed all the way forward. And then in this position, lengthen your neck, settle your chin for me. Then take a slow, deep inhale as you let your belly sink and you lift your tailbone and you slowly pull the shoulder blades back and you lengthen that neck and you gaze gently up, but only go to where you feel just a little bit of tension, no pain. And then slowly exhale. And as you exhale, pull that abdomen in, arch through that back, tuck that tailbone under. Really slowly spread through the shoulder blades and bring the chin to the chest and look into the belly button. Inhaling very, very slowly and aware of your body today. Literally micro movements as you're moving into that cow pose as slowly as you can. And then gently, gently exhaling and exhaling and exhaling as you find your way back up into that cow pose. Letting that neck completely fall, chin to the chest, gazing into that belly button. One last time here, inhaling, very slowly allowing yourself to let the belly sink as the tailbone lifts, slowly shoulder blades back, slowly neck lengthens as you gaze up. And finally, one last time, very gently allowing yourself to let that abdomen pull in as that arch of the back happens, the tailbone tucks under, really drop your head and gaze into your belly button. Now, from here, gently start to sit yourself back, but don't move your hands. As you sit yourself back, let yourself go to wherever you can go, allowing yourself to gently keep their hands where they are. Maybe you can't get the whole way back to touch the heels with your arms straight. Maybe something in your shoulders limit you here. So listen to your body. But if you can, gently try to keep those hands right where they were and see if you can get the crown of the head back down to the floor in a full child's pose here. Lengthen the chin to the chest, gaze into that belly. Take 2 more breaths here. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. And one more time, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. And then very slowly bringing yourself back up onto hands and knees, merely to allow yourself to transition over onto your back. Now, we are staying on our back for the remainder of class today. So what I want you to do is make sure that you have yourself in a nice, comfortable position that you feel like your body will be happy with for the next little bit of time. Have yourself so you feel your pelvis is already in a nice, gentle, rested, neutral position on your yoga mat. Gently take your shoulder blades and slowly roll them underneath you. Maybe even take your hands to your head today, lengthen the back of that neck and settle that chin into the throat to find that beautiful length of those neck muscles. And then gently begin to let your arms rest beside you as you have your feet resting on the floor. Your knees are bent. We have ourselves in a hook lying position. Now we're going to be working through a awareness through movement exercise called a pelvic clock. So here's what I want you to do right now. Get really comfortable, gently close your eyes. If there's too much brightness in your room, maybe find something to cover over your face right now, as long as you can hear me. And I want you to pay attention to your pelvis. If you could think of a physical clock resting on your abdomen area. So like an old school wall clock. That's what I want you to think about. Where the 12 o'clock is pointed upwards towards your chest and your head, and the 6 o'clock is pointed downwards towards your feet area. And if we think about our clock as the 12 is up and the 6 is down, the left side of our body are the low numbers on the clock. So the 3 o'clock would be all the way to 90 degrees to our hip or pelvic bone. The right side of our clock, the right side of our body, are the high numbers, so that the 9 o'clock would be right towards your right pelvic bone. So I want you to take this time right now to visualize that clock laying on your pelvis. And as you do that, just take a moment to feel, is that clock resting on your pelvis in a flat position? Or is it tipped a little bit to the 6 or tipped a little bit towards the 12? What would you need to do right now with your body and your pelvis to get that pelvis to feel like it's in a nice flat position, that that clock could just rest there? Now, let's start doing some gentle movements as we're very aware of what is performing those movements. So I want you to take your pelvis and your clock, and I want you to gently let your low back flatten as you let your clock and your pelvis come up towards 12 o'clock. Now, the efficient way to do that would be to use your abdominal muscles. The inefficient way to do that would be to use your hamstrings. So as you pulled your clock up to 12 o'clock, did you feel some contraction of your abdominal muscles? Or did you just feel yourself push your feet down into the floor? Pay attention to that. And now gently release the tension of your abdominal muscles and let that pelvis come back to that neutral position. We're going to try practicing that 12 o'clock again. Now that you know what muscles should be used and what muscles you're trying to avoid overusing. And so allow yourself, don't worry about where your breath is here, just breathing normally, not holding your breath. Just gently allow yourself to take that clock and that pelvis and bring it up to 12 o'clock. Did you use abdominals that time? Can you feel that you had to shut your back muscles off in order to perform that function? And then hopefully this time your legs didn't push downward into the floor as you tried to relax some of your hamstrings. Now slowly relax your clock again so that your pelvis is in a neutral position. And let's practice going towards the 6 o'clock. So as you move your pelvis towards the 6 o'clock, two groups of muscles are in play here. Your back abdominals, which is your back muscles, and not your abdominals, your back muscles, which is what you're predominantly trying to use, but also your hip flexors. And so what I want you to focus on is that you're using your back muscles here and you're not using your hip flexors and letting your feet lift off the floor or become lighter. So gently relax the pelvis back to its resting position. Clock is nice and level to the floor again. And let's try doing that 6 o'clock movement again and see if you can allow, as you do that 6 o'clock movement, it really be the back muscles that are contracting to 6 o'clock. You don't feel your feet lifting off the floor at all. And then slowly let yourself bring that pelvis back to the neutral position. Clock and pelvis are level with the floor. All right, let's add a little bit of breath this time. So as we're moving through the pelvic clock, we're going to move from 6 o'clock with the inhalation, focusing on the back muscles, all the way up to 12 o'clock on the exhalation, focusing on the abdominal muscles. The entire time, be aware that you're not lifting or pushing downward into your feet and overusing any of those leg muscles. All right, let's see how this goes. So slowly take an inhale as you move and roll your pelvis to 6 o'clock. Allow those back muscles to contract. And then very slowly exhaling through that nose as that pelvic clock and the pelvis come towards 12 o'clock and you feel those abdominal muscles contracting but not pushing the feet into the floor. Let's do that 2 more times. Gently inhaling 6 o'clock. Can you identify that it's back muscles that are moving your pelvis? And then gently exhaling 12 o'clock. As you continue to exhale, let those abdominals isolate and contract. Try not to push your feet down into the floor. Let's do 1 more time here. And can you gently inhaling to 6. And then very slowly exhaling all the way back up to that 12 o'clock. And then rest your clock, rest your pelvis in the neutral position. Okay, so now let's see if we can find the low numbers of our clock. And so this is really training your brain, your back muscles, your abdominal muscles, your pelvic muscles to all sequentially harmonize, kind of like a beautiful orchestra as you move your pelvis, your low back, and your hips together. So slowly bring your pelvis and your clock towards 6 o'clock. Now check in as you did that you didn't lighten your feet. You feel back muscles contracting. Now, what would you do to gently bring your clock and your pelvis to 5 o'clock? Can you feel that you have to contract the abdominals and back muscles a little bit more on the right side to drop that clock down into that left 5 o'clock? How about bringing it to the 4 o'clock? Can you feel how you fire those abdominal muscles and those side back muscles on the right side and relax the left muscles? How about 3 o'clock? Check in that your legs are not moving, your feet are not getting heavier on the left side and lighter on the right side. This is a true pelvic motion to 3 o'clock. Now, can you feel as you start to contract those abdominals on that left side to pull up to the 2 o'clock? How about up to that 1 o'clock? And then finally, full muscle contraction of the abdominals as you make your way up to 12 o'clock. Now, can we reverse that motion? You're at 12 o'clock. Can you slowly start to relax the right abdominals as you contract the right low back muscles? Don't let your legs move to make it to 1 o'clock. Don't change the weight in your legs. Let your back muscles and your abdominals find this beautiful symphony. Slowly making your way to 3 o'clock. Gently taking your way to 4 o'clock. Can you feel those right and abdominal and back muscles now working? Take your way lower to 5 o'clock. And then slowly bring yourself all the way to 6 o'clock. How did you do? Rest your pelvis, let everything go. Relax the clock in the center. Did you feel shaking? Did you have difficulty not letting your legs move? Did you push into your feet? Or could you beautifully synchronize that movement of your back muscles and your abdominal muscles? All right, let's do the right side of our clock. So keep your back relaxed for a moment. And let's allow ourselves to start going back down to the 6 o'clock. Allow the back muscles to do that. Make sure that your feet didn't get lighter or your legs didn't move. Now feel what has to happen to take that pelvic clock to the 7 o'clock. So you feel those back muscles on the left side having to work, the abdominals on the left side having to work a bit more. How about the 8 o'clock? Can you make that happen without your legs moving, without pushing more into your right leg? How about that 9 o'clock? Can you feel how the side abdominal muscles and your side back muscles have to contract on your right side? Can you make it up to 10 o'clock? Can you get that left leg not to move or that right leg not to move? Can you slowly continue up to 11 o'clock as you contract those abdominal muscles more? And then finally, can you make it all the way on that right side until you get to that 12 o'clock? Holding that 12 o'clock, keeping those abdominal muscles contracted. Check in that your neck is long and your chin is tucked and you're not fighting your nervous system. Let's reverse our order here. Can you gently go to 11 o'clock? Feel that those right abdominals are working harder. Can you go to that 10 o'clock? See how those side back muscles have to work more, but don't let yourself push heavier into your left foot. Don't lift your right leg. Can you go to 9 o'clock? Feel those muscles on the side of your back creating that motion. Can you take yourself down to 8 o'clock? And then can you take yourself all the way to 7 o'clock as you feel those back muscles contracting on that left side, sorry. And then can you fully contract all the back muscles as you slowly make it to 6 o'clock? And then relax the pelvis, relax the back muscles, drop the clock back to its neutral position. All right, so we're going to go through our full clock in clockwise direction first, followed by counterclockwise direction second. So allowing yourself to not hold your breath, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, slowly begin to contract all of your abdominal muscles as you bring that pelvis and that clock up to 12 o'clock. Now check in that you didn't lift your feet, you didn't engage too much through your hip flexors. My bad, I'm sorry, through your hamstrings. So you're not pushing down into your feet as you engage through your hamstrings. My apologies on that, guys. Keep yourself to 12 o'clock now. Now, think about the pelvis and the clock and think about how you would have to use your pelvis and those back muscles on that right side to start to go to 1 o'clock. And then how about to get to 2 o'clock? What has to happen? Try to use those back muscles on the right side, but don't push harder into your right foot. And then how about to 3 o'clock? Can you feel what happens to get to 3 o'clock? Take your pelvis and the clock down to 4 o'clock. Feel those back muscles on the right side working now. Take your pelvis down to that 5 o'clock. Not lifting the left leg, not pushing down into the right leg. Can you finally make your way all the way to 6 o'clock? Okay, keep going. Can you now take yourself to 7 o'clock? Don't let your legs move. Let the back muscles figure this out. And take yourself to 8 o'clock. Slowly start to bring yourself to 9 o'clock. Don't push into that left foot. Let the back muscles on the left side figure this out without using too much of your left leg. Take yourself now up to that 10 o'clock as those abdominals start to fire more. Take yourself up to 11 o'clock. And then finally, slowly bring that pelvis and that clock all the way to that 12 o'clock. Check in that you're not pushing into your feet. They're nice and relaxed. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and then relax the pelvis in the center. All right, one more way to go. Let's do counterclockwise. So using the right side of the pelvis first as we do the hind numbers, counting downwards and backwards. So slowly engage the abdominals as you allow yourself to flatten that back, bringing that pelvic clock towards 12 o'clock, making sure to not push into that feet. Now, can you take yourself to 11 o'clock? Feel as you take yourself to 11 o'clock, your options are to push into that left leg or use those low back muscles on that left side a little bit better. How about 10 o'clock? Can you slowly bring yourself to 9 o'clock and feel that those legs are not falling over to one side as you're doing that? Keep this movement between the pelvic and the back muscles. Can you take yourself down to 8 o'clock as those back muscles start to fire more, abdominals are starting to relax them? Can you take yourself down to 7 o'clock? And then slowly let yourself go all the way to 6 o'clock. Now find the 5 o'clock. As you're doing that, allow yourself not to push down into that right leg. Don't let your legs move, particularly the right leg. Using back muscles here, can you slowly fire the right back muscles more without pushing into that right leg and make your way to 4 o'clock? How about those right back muscles to make your way to 3 o'clock? And then start firing those abdominals as you make your way up to 2 o'clock. Slowly keep firing abdominal muscles. Make your way all the way to 1 o'clock. Don't push down into your feet. Let this be abdominals. And then very slowly bring yourself all the way to 12 o'clock. Now, can you keep yourself in 12 o'clock? Very gently push into your right foot. Lift your right knee towards your chest and gently take your right hand around your right shin bone. And then gently, very gently lifting the left leg up into the air. Left hand around the left shin bone. Lengthening your neck, settling your chin, taking a nice deep inhaling in. And as you exhale, slowly bringing those knees to your chest. All of those abdominal and back muscles have had a workout, but it's a very gentle workout. A lot of awareness of our body and our mind together. Can you now take a nice, gentle, slow, deep inhale into your belly? And then exhaling out as you gently bring your knees to your chest. Deep inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale, slowly bringing your knees to your chest. Now keeping your right knee to your chest, slowly letting your left foot go back down onto the floor, taking both hands around the right leg, and then very slowly sliding that left leg straight down the mat. Allowing some nice good length through those left hip flexors as you gently stretch through those right gluteals now. Keeping your neck long and your chin tucked in. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly bringing that right knee to your chest. Now very slowly begin to take your hands and move your hands to the underside of your knee so you're holding onto your thigh bone. And let your shoulder blades engage here as you keep your thigh bone towards your chest. And then just let your right toes point up towards the ceiling. Allowing yourself to gently open your eyes for a moment if you want to. Start to gaze at your right big toe here. And then when you're ready, gently inhaling and slowly straightening that knee without the knee coming away from the chest. And then gently exhaling and letting that knee fall as the gaze stays with the right big toe. Inhaling, straightening that right knee stays to the chest, getting good opening through the hamstrings by using the quadriceps. And then gently exhaling as that knee falls back down. And let's do that one more time, gently inhaling. And then very gently exhaling as that knee falls back down. Slowly taking your hands back to the top of the shin. Taking one more inhale, and then as you exhale, pulling that knee into your chest. And now taking your attention to your left leg. Allowing yourself to take a deep inhale, tighten the knee, push the entire leg into the floor. Feel the gluteal muscles contract with the quadriceps. And then as you exhale, let that go completely. Let's do that 2 more times. Nice, slow, deep inhale. Tighten that left knee. Push that left leg into the floor. And then as you exhale, relaxing all of that contraction. And one more time. Inhaling, tightening that quadricep, pushing that knee down, pushing that entire leg down as the gluteals fire. And then exhaling, completely letting go. Very slowly and intentionally sliding the left leg up until the foot is flat on the floor. And then slowly bringing the left knee back up to the chest as the hands come around the left shin, slowly bringing the right foot to the floor, and then slowly sliding the right foot all the way down the mat. Now, keeping yourself right here, taking a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, pulling the left knee into the chest. Allowing yourself to shift your hands to the underside of your knee so that your hands are holding on to your thigh bone, using your shoulder blades and your arms to keep your knee to your chest. Allow yourself to take your left toes and point them up to the ceiling. Open your eyes and gaze at that left big toe. Gently inhaling as you start to straighten that knee, keeping that knee to your chest as your gaze stays with your big toe. And then as you exhale, slowly letting that knee bend downward. Doing that 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting upward, straightening the knee. Exhaling, relaxing downward. And one more time. Inhaling and straightening. As you're straightening, lifting that leg, keeping your gaze at your big toe, knee to chest. And as you exhale, slowly lower that leg back down. Taking a moment to bring your hands back around to the front of the shin bone. Nice deep inhale here. Exhale, pull that knee into your chest. And now taking your focus to your right leg. Allowing yourself to take an inhale and tighten your quadricep as you push your knee down and really push the entire leg down as you squeeze through your gluteals. And then exhaling, completely relaxing. 2 more times here. Inhaling, tightening that knee. Inhaling, pushing that leg down. And exhaling and completely relaxing. And one more time, inhaling, tightening that knee, inhaling, pushing that entire leg down, feeling that gluteal area contract, and exhaling and relaxing. Very slowly and intentionally sliding that right leg up until the foot is flat, and then gently releasing the left knee until the left foot comes down to the floor. Now take your hands and gently allow the palms of your hands to rest over your pelvic area so that you can feel your hip pointers, the front of your pelvis in the front of your body. And once you're there, allow yourself to lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and gently go back to closing your eyes. A second awareness through movement exercise today through the hip joint. So we've already done the pelvis. So make a conscious effort to keep that pelvis in a beautifully flat, neutral clock position throughout this next exercise and movement. But take your left leg now and slowly slide your left leg down the mat. And once the left leg is down the mat, gently walk your right foot until you feel the inside of your right heel touching the inside of your left knee. Now, can you take a moment to pay attention to your pelvic bones and see if you feel that those pelvic bones feel the same and level right now? Try to get those pelvic bones to feel level and not feel rotated in one direction or the other. And once you've found what feels like a level position for you, keep that position. It might mean you need to use a little bit more abdominals, a little bit more back muscles, but I want you to stay very aware that that pelvis is in a neutral position. Now, gently moving the right knee outward to the side. As you're letting the knee fall, you're relaxing with your breath, but you're being very, very aware that the pelvis doesn't lose that neutral position. How far can you gently let that right leg go without those pelvic bones changing their position? Once you feel that you have found the end of your movement, be very aware that the pelvis hasn't moved. Allow yourself to speak to your right hip rotators and tell them to let go. Take a gentle, slow, deep inhale into your belly here. And then exhaling out. And just as slowly as you let your leg fall out to the side, very, very slowly and intentionally use those adductor and hip muscles to bring the leg upward without the pelvis moving a bit. Once you have your knee upward to the resting position and the pelvis is in a neutral position, slowly start to walk your foot outward until you've walked the right foot out and you've found the edge of your mat. So without using your vision here, feeling with your foot as you find the outside of your mat. Now, being very aware of that pelvis position, don't let those pelvic bones move or rotate. Breathing normally, can you just very gently start to let that right leg fall out to the side? How far can you go before those pelvic bones begin to move? Wherever you go today, that's where you should be. It's a journey, guys. It doesn't happen overnight. So just be kind to your body and see where your hip allows itself to go. Just keep your focus on the pelvis staying in neutral. Now let the right hip rotators go. Take a gentle, deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Now, just as slowly as letting the leg go out, start to bring the leg back in, but can you do it without the pelvis dropping or moving? Can you allow those hip joint muscles to move separately of the pelvic and back muscles? And once the knee is back upright, start to walk the foot back inward until you find that knee on the left side, and then take your foot and, if you can, slide the foot all the way up and over the left leg. Now, if you have very tight right hip muscles, it might be that you place your foot onto the left thigh or to the left shin bone, but do not place your foot directly onto your left kneecap. So figure out the position that's comfortable for you today, and then bring yourself back to the attention of your pelvis and get that pelvis in a nice neutral position. Now, keeping the pelvis still, so don't let the back and pelvis muscles move. Can you dissociate and release the tension in that right hip? So normal breathing as you're aware, just gently letting that leg and that knee fall out to the side. Keeping the pelvis level, don't let it rotate or fall. Going to wherever you can get that leg, and that is where you are today. Now, talk to the right hip and tell it to let go. Relax, and then take a deep inhale into your belly and a slow exhaling out. And just as slowly as you release your hip out to the side, without moving the pelvic bones, can you allow that knee to come back to its upright position? Slide the foot up and over so that it's back on the floor on the right side. Find the alignment with the right foot and knee and hip all in the same line, and then very slowly slide the left leg up. Once the left leg is up, very gently and slowly slide the right leg down. Once you're there, attention stays to that pelvis. Find that pelvis in its neutral position. Don't let it fall down onto that left side just because the right leg is straight. And then start to walk that left foot so that the inside of the ankle finds the inside of the right knee. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and pay deep attention to the pelvis not moving as we release through our hip joint. Breathing normally and slowly, just gently allow the left knee to fall out to the side. Be very aware that the pelvic bones do not move or change their position. Wherever your leg gets to today, when you get it there, let your left hip go. And take a slow, deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling slowly out. Just as slowly, the leg fell out to the side. Without letting the pelvis rotate, can you use those hip muscles to very slowly bring that knee back upright? Really learning to control the hips separate of the pelvis and the low back. Now gently start to walk the left foot outward. Walk out until your left foot feels the outside of your left mat. Keeping your pelvis nice and level now. Relaxing your breath into a normal breathing pattern. Gently let the left knee and leg start to fall out to the side. Keep that pelvis level. What do you need to talk to in your brain to let that happen? Wherever you get to today, be happy with it. That's where you need to be. Speak to your left gluteal muscles that have gotten you there and the left hip rotators. Take a moment to let them relax. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Very intentionally and slowly bringing that knee back up as your inner thigh muscles and hip flexors navigate that journey. Don't let your pelvis move. Beautiful. And then start to walk that foot all the way in until it finds the inside of the left knee. And your options are to slide your leg up and over your right leg, placing the foot on the outside of the right leg. If you do not have appropriate left hip flexibility to do that, you can place your foot onto the right thigh or place your foot onto the right shin bone, but do not place your foot onto the right kneecap. Wherever you are today, be happy with it. Feel your pelvis, make sure that it hasn't lost its neutral position, and then begin just normal breathing. Slowly, as you are aware of the pelvis not moving, let the hip fall out to the side with the knee. But don't let the pelvis drop. Keep it perfectly stable. Where do you get to today? And then wherever you get to, take a moment to relax through those buttocks and hip rotators. Take a deep inhale into your belly and slowly exhaling out. Without moving your pelvis, can you slowly, intentionally transition that knee back to an upright position? And then gently walk the foot up and over that right knee. Walk the left foot until the foot and the hip and the knee line up, keeping the pelvis and the lumbar spine stable. Can you then slide the right leg up? Once both knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor, gently one leg at a time, bring your knees to your chest, hugging your knees nice and slow as you hold around your shin bones. Take a nice deep inhale in. Slowly exhale as you bring your knees to your chest. Settle your neck and your chin. Holding here for a deep inhale and an exhale. Now very gently, letting one foot after the other come down to the floor, taking both feet together today and walking them to the left edge of your mat. Gently taking your arms out to the side of your body, either in T formation or in goalpost formation. Gently placing your knees to touch one another, taking a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, gently letting the knees fall to the right side. As they fall to the right side, keeping the focus to the hips, the pelvis, and the low back today. Both shoulder blades should stay on the floor. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Go to the point that you can keep your knees together. Take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. And one more breath, deep inhaling in. And exhaling out. Use your abdominals, slowly bringing the rib cage down on the right side, bringing the rib cage down on the left side, bringing the low back down on the right side, low back down on the left side, settling that left pelvis back down onto your mat, and then walking those feet to the right edge of your mat. Keep walking until you find that edge of your mat today. Taking a nice deep inhale here, gently keeping your knees together. And then as you exhale, letting those knees fall down into the left. Shoulder blades stay both engaged on the floor today. Go to where you can keep your knees together, focusing on that hip and low back and pelvic area today. Taking a deep inhale in and exhaling out. One more breath, deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Now, starting with really beginning to lower the left rib cage first, followed by the right rib cage. Go to the left low back, followed by the right low back. And then continue going until that right pelvis meets the floor. Walking your feet back to the center. And then very gently allowing yourself to relax your arms down beside your pelvic area. Slowly lowering the right heel to the right corner of the mat. The left heel to the left corner of the mat. Finding yourself in a happy hip and a happy pelvic position. Letting your body be nice and still here. And slowly breathing in and out of your nose. Taking this last moment just to feel the ease in your low back right now, the ease in your hips with gentle movements. And then go back to that diaphragmatic breath for 2 more breaths. So gently take a slow, deep inhale into your belly for me, all the way to that pelvic floor. And then gently let the air fall out through that nose. And 1 more breath, nice deep inhaling in, all the way to the pelvic floor, and then gently exhaling out. Let your body be still. Find this peace just for 1 more second. And then when you're ready, wiggling your fingers and your toes, circles with your wrists and your ankles. And then 1 leg at a time, gently sliding the leg up. And then slowly rolling over onto your side. Resting there for an inhale and an exhale, and maybe a second one of those. And then when you're feeling ready, on an exhale, using your bottom elbow on your top hand, pushing yourself up into a seated position. Gently finding yourself in that easy pose. I guarantee you, not only will your hips and your back be thankful for today's class, but so will your nervous system. Gently bring your hands to the center of your heart. Maybe put a smile on your face. Take a nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.